Hi and hello watch fans, and welcome to another edition of the Real Time Show with me, your friendly neighbourhood watchmaker Rob Nuds, and our friendly neighbourhood jeweller Alon Ben Joseph. Today we are joined by the head of one of the more interesting, certainly when it comes to shape, brands in the industry today. That's Thibaud Guittard from Alto Watches. Thibaud, welcome to the studio.
Hello guys, thanks for having me.
I know Alon is itching to ask you a question here because he's very, very fond of brands that step into the arena with something new to offer. So we're going to kick it over to the jeweller in Amsterdam right now.
End of spring 24, I saw a very cool looking watch pop on my screen, 70s vibe. I said, hey, looks a bit Hegide-ish, but as soon as you saw the caliber, you know, hey, this is high end. Reminded me of the Trilobe caliber. I'm like, wow, this is cool. But then it disappeared off my radar until we got a TRTS press invite to come meet Alto in Paris. And then I said, ooh, we need to get on the mic with the founder, because with a surname that sounds like Guittard, how can he not be a rock star? His Instagram is all black and white, and we have a partner of his who has been on the show, whom I'm a big fan of, Bart Nussbaumer. So, Thibaud, I want to know what the F is wrong with you to start a new watch brand at this price point that is so eclectic.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. So yeah, my name's Thibaud Guittard. Yeah, guitar like the instrument. I'm a French entrepreneur. I was born and raised in the south of France. I'm 37. And yeah, I can say I'm not a watchmaker. I'm just a really, really creative person. Yeah, as a child, I was spending my time drawing, sketching ideas, objects. So I've always been very creative. Growing up in France, I was surrounded by a culture that values a lot of craftsmanship and artistry. So really, really young, I was attracted by objects of design, by art, everything that's related to art in general, you know, so cars, architecture, design, watches, of course. What happened that I did a business school in Paris. Then I traveled a little bit in California and Spain. And I really, really fell in love with watchmaking after graduation, because I had this incredible opportunity to work at Audemars Piguet in France. So it started with an internship of 6 months. And then I was hired as their communication manager for the French markets. Those 5 years of work were truly transformative to me. I really, really fell in love with watchmaking at this period. So I was like 21, 22 years old, something like this. So yeah, 5 years of work there, a lot of networking. I learned a lot about watchmaking, about the culture of watchmaking, about everything basically. And at 27 years old, I left AP and I went back to the south of France, where I come from, because we have a family business from the fourth generation. And I was like, don't wait too much to start working with your family. It's, that's a family-owned business that has nothing to do with watches, that has nothing to do about this industry. And after like 4 or 5 years of work there, I realized that I need to come back to the watch industry. I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know who with, but I have to come back. So I said, okay, let's try to do something, imagine something that could be a watch brand, or that could be collaboration or anything, but you need to come back to this subject because I just fell in love at that time. So this is a little bit like something 5 or 6 years ago from now. Yeah, I was about 30. That was just before COVID. I said, okay, I did this thing. I was alone, completely alone. I didn't have any designer. I didn't contact anyone. Nobody in my family was aware about what I had in mind. And I said, okay, I do this, what we call a mind map. I don't know if you guys know what a mind map is. It's like you put basically your ideas on a frame. It can be photos, words, anything on a big frame, and you try to make links between those things. So it's what we call a mind map. So I built this mind map with, as you said, the 70s vibe, wedge design era, like Maserati Boomerang, Giugiaro, all those Italian geniuses from the 70s in terms of cars. I mixed it with Christopher Nolan's movie, with the reversibility of time, the flexibility of time, the image and sophistication of the Daft Punk, which I'm a big fan of, etc. So I did this big mind map. And then I said, okay, what can I do with this? So I was trying to find a link during months and months between all those things and try to connect it with a watch brand. And one day I was really tired about doing this because you do this on nights, on weekends, it's a part-time job. It's not something you do 100%. And one day I woke up and I said, okay, I said to myself, stop finding a link between those things. Just be the link, be this link. And from that day, everything became very clear and obvious. So I just developed my own vision of a watch brand that mixed all those influences from art to music, to cars, to design, to everything that you see now on the brand and that you will see in the future on the brand. So yeah, it started like this, basically.
Thibaud, you are end of the 80s kid if I do the math very quickly in my head.
87,
87.
right.
So you're an 80s kid growing up in the 90s. So are you reincarnated if you like this Alto Noir 70s vibe of things?
It is more like I like the vision of the future people had in the 70s. Like it's what we call now retrofuturism, retrofuture, but it's really what I love. I mean, the 70s and 80s before I was born, I love the idea of the future from the people of that era. I really love that. So I really like the risk they took. And it's funny because if you go to watches specifically, it's typically the era of AP Royal Oak, of like really big rupture, breaking rules in terms of design. And it was the same in cars. It was also the same in contemporary art, etc. So yeah, it's an interesting period, which I love. I'm not the big fan of like old things, specifically because I'm not a watch brand with 200 years of history. But I must say that I really like this idea of the future in the 70s. I really like this.
So you're inspired by wedge cars. Could we conclude that your favorite MB&F watch is the HM5?
Yeah. I know very well Max and Serge. They are like Serge is like a godfather to me in the industry because I met him like some years ago, and he helped me a lot in finding my way and avoiding making big mistakes for the last years. So yeah, totally. This is the kind of vibe I like.
When did you decide that the first Alto watch should not be a casquette watch?
It was just that, I was looking at Alto began as an idea of a response to a personal frustration. Why would the world need another luxury watch brand? It's true, the market is filled with remarkable timepieces, many of them backed by centuries of heritage, as I was saying. But there was a frustration, so I was just looking for a watch that was a complete departure in style, with a strong emotional appeal, and with both high performance, fine watchmaking movement, in-house movement, and absolute comfort on wrists, and a total radical design. So to answer your questions, if I was doing like a round vintage watch, a chronograph, a lot of people just do it like way better than me, and I don't bring something different to this watch world, so it's not interesting for me. If I was following a trend, I would have done a round watch, like a vintage vibe, and that's it. So no, I was finding, and this is what took me so many time. Not only because I was not 100% on this project, but also because I was always saying to myself, okay, as long as you don't have the right design that has never been done before, this project is not good. Don't do these projects. So it's just, then I went to find some designers, and after like 2 or 3 designers, someone said to me, okay, you need to talk to Bart Nussbaumer. Go see Bart. Maybe he's the only one that can help you on this idea and on this project, and maybe he's the only one who can understand you.
Did you and Bart get on very well from the moment you met, or was it a relationship that took some time to understand one another?
Someone introduced Bart to me, I don't remember when, it was like 3 or 4 years ago now. And I just explained my project. I just explained him like my mind map, where I wanted to go. I had some sketches that I did, and I said, okay, please uh, help me and try to make my sketches into real life, into real watch life, and make it real. And it took some weeks, maybe 2 months, something like this, to have a proper design. But Bart said to me, okay, here is the design. I'm not very sure that it's possible to do, because this is the very first time you have a sapphire that is bombed and beveled. This is the first time you have like an octagon in volume. You want a second hand that runs backward. So it was a bit a discovery when we started to speak. But yeah, Bart was liked the project very instantly, but he said to me, it's after that, at the end, when we launched the brand in April, he said to me, it's probably one of the most insane watch I've done in terms of complexity.
Well, he's certainly got some strong competition with his own efforts with Colloquium recently. It's an incredible era of watchmaking to be a part of, to witness these creative shaped watches like Alto, like Toledano and Chan, like Berneron, all emerging at the same time. It really is a great time to be a watch collector. But tell us more about that second hand, because that's something on the inside of the case that we don't see very often.
The mission of this brand is we want to explore the universal topic of time through the eyes of artists. Because I think that art is the shortest route between human beings. So the idea of this brand is to explore time perception. So when you say that, and if we come back to the mind map, I had a lot of Christopher Nolan's movie photos on the mind map. I'm a big fan of him, a big fan of all his movies. And at the end of the day, Christopher Nolan doesn't talk about it doesn't talk about dreams. It doesn't talk about new all the topic of his movies. He only talks about time. He's obsessed about time, the perception of time, the flexibility of time, the fact that time is shiftable. That's the only topic that comes back in every movie, and that's his obsession. His obsession about time. So I was like, I want to make a tribute to that cinematography, and I want to make something that has never been done before, to my knowledge. So doing a movement that goes totally reverse. It's a good transition after that with Raphaël Abellon that comes from Cartier, has been done before, but the second hand, which doesn't bother you to read time, because at the end of the day, it's just a second hand that runs backward, but the minute and hour hands runs normally. I said, okay, that can be a good signature for the brand. That's the explanation.
I love it. Very philosophical. And thank you for explaining the name of the first model you guys have launched in 25 pieces, the Art 01. Now, pivoting to your name, Alto for me is a correlation to either jazz music, a soprano, or Italian high. Tell us a bit why you chose that name.
First of all, I didn't want my name, my surname. I don't have ego. I'm not into those things. I said, okay, Alto is an acronym of artistic and limited time objects. So ALTO, I wanted something short. Alto is also because I used to play saxophone when I was young. And also it means high in Latin. In Italian and Spanish, it means high. I love this word. It works very well for the brand. And yeah, and it's short, and it was available at this time also. So yeah, I just love this name. It's the acronym of arts and limited time objects. So you see ALTO.
Love it. It's a collective almost. So you addressed Bart Nussbaumer. I believe you teamed up with Mathieu César, Yorgo Tloupas, and obviously the Cercle des Horlogers.
CDH. We can say CDH, yeah.
CDH. Tell us a bit how that progressed from connecting with Bart and then what?
So yeah, it took like a year and a half or 2 years to fix properly the design with Bart. We went to see in the same time various manufacturers, but Cercle des Horlogers understood us properly, and they said, okay, let's do a in-house movement for you. So it was then a discussion between Bart, myself, and Cercle des Horlogers to make this watch happen. So it started like this. And then Mathieu is something else. Mathieu is in charge of the image. Mathieu is a really famous, Mathieu César, I'm talking. He's a really, really famous photographer in France and Europe, really known for his black and white portraits. And yeah, so I met him in another circumstances, but I really wanted him to be in that project from scratch. And yeah, so we're building the image of the brand also with him, and is really important in the team. What was your question again? So how it worked with Serre des Horlogers, Bart, and I? It was just years of discussion to make that watch happen. But complexity of conversation that you have with technical designer at Cercle, and also Bart and I to make it happen. But yeah, it took time. It took a lot of time.
What does your long-term product plan look like? Are there artists that you'd like to work with in the future that you've already identified, or is it a much more organic thing which will develop however it does?
So we've done in 24 like an homage tribute first edition at 25 pieces only. Just before talking about the future, there's a key turning point for Alto with the arrival of Raphaël Abellan this summer. Raphaël Abellan is used to work for Cartier as a watch designer during 12 years. And he joined me this summer to bring his expertise, his vision, and together we try to push boundaries of what Alto could be and where we could go. So it's now a trio between Raphaël, Mathieu, César, and I. As you know, Bart is a part-time independent designer, and I really needed someone full-time now to build a collection, to build a brand properly. So I'm really, really happy to that Raphaël joined me. He's probably one of the most talented designer of his generation, and we share the same vision, the same passion. So it's a big, a nice trio of minds dedicated to create something special. So the future, we are launching this in 2025. 3 new models. We want to keep that shape because we think that this shape is different. We want to build a brand towards this shape first. And we don't want to move like shapes every 2 years or 3 years. It's not the topic of the brand. So we are doing 3 new models. We are announcing 2 monochromatic models, one full black and one full gray, in a very limited production also.
So you launched, let's say, mid-24 with the Art 01. If I remember correctly, there were 25 initial models. Is it a limited edition watch, or is the Art 01 that we see now on the market in titanium, is that a production model? Are you going to work in chapters, or you're working with a core collection?
No, we're gonna do a collection. Art 01 first edition was the 2024 watch, will remain at 25 pieces. We will never make this model again in that configuration. And this is and will stay a first edition at 25 pieces, numbered and limited. What we do now is we try to build a collection with a limited production because we cannot produce like thousands of watches or hundreds of watches. So it will remain very confidential in terms of production, but we are doing iteration of the first model. So the look of it and the work on it is different, but it's the same shape, the same proportion for this year. And for the years to come, we are already working with Raphaël for a smaller size. We are also working on a steel bracelet. So yeah, many things to come.
So how was I able, if I wanted to obtain the watch in 24, to get one? And how can I get one in 2025?
You just send me an email and we try to chat and we see what we can do. We already have a waiting list. It's getting bigger and bigger every week. But no, as it remains confidential, I really like to know the person. It's really important for me to know in person the collector. And it's funny because out of the 25 first clients that we have for the first edition, these are not only watch collectors. and that's a good thing. These are also car collector, art collector. People are attracted by something else than the movement itself and the complexity of the movement itself. So other people are attracted by emotions on the wrist, and attracted by design, architecture, whatever the shape reminds them. Um, and it's cool, and I like it. So yeah, you just send me an email if you want to be part of the family, and we try to speak.
You took the words out of my mouth and described your customers to us there, because I was curious who it is that you most likely to appeal to. But tell me this, how did they find their way to Alto? What kind of advertising or promotional activities have you pursued, or is most of your success through word of mouth?
Most of the people contacted me after the launch. We launched it in Paris. It was a physical launch, and we related that to Instagram and LinkedIn, and the it's growing like organically, like just very normally. So we don't do any adverts. We don't push that much, and it comes like organically. And we meet people again in fairs, and we try to explain who we are and what we do and where we want to go, because there's a lot of ambition behind the brand. So it's just organically.
Is it the idea to expand from direct to consumer brand and have ambassadors, retailers, agents, distributors? How are you going to approach the B2B side of things?
This is still a question I cannot answer now because this is something I wake up every morning, and yeah, I'm contacted by retailers. I have connections. I have discussions with different retailers. It's just that now the production is so small that we think we can sell it directly. But there will be a day, I don't know if it's this year or maybe next year, that we will need retail to develop and push boundaries and make another steps to create the brand. But now it's still discussions, only discussions. But there is no confirmed retailing thing for 25.
I believe you mentioned the week of Watches and Wonders in Geneva. So first week of April, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Will you A, be there, and B, can consumers come see the watches in the metal?
Yeah, of course. If you guys want to see the watch in the metal, we are at Watches and Wonders. We will be the whole week at the Hôtel des Bergues, the Four Seasons. We have a room there to present our three novelties. So please feel free to contact me and our team, and we will receive you at Four Seasons. Yeah.
I would love to speak about the philosophy of your collection, what price levels and therefore quality you feel comfortable. I believe that the Art 01 started around 20,000 euros, 17, 18,000 Swiss francs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, depending on currency, we were between, because if we talk in Swiss francs, in USD or euros, first edition was around between 22 and 23,000 euros.
And what do you envision for, I don't like the term price elasticity, but if you look at bandwidth, how low do you envision Alto to go, and how high, or is sky the limit?
Sky's the limit. I mean, what we have in mind, we're not going to go into the six-figure thing for the 2-3 years to come. I think we're probably going to stay, depending on the ambitions and on the movement, on the complexity of everything we do. Because as you know, like when you start to think about a watch or a new movement and a new shape, it takes at least 3 years to be on the wrist, and it's a lot of money spending. It's a lot of time, etc. So depending, but we think for 2025 for sure, and 26 we're gonna stay around those figures between 25 to 30, something like this, except for like super exceptional things that we will do apart, which will go higher than those figures. which is the case with the gold piece that we launched this year. I can also say for the future that we are discussing and developing, doing R&D with contemporary artists, conceptual artists, a huge personality in the watch industry, still alive. And we are working on a specific collaboration with this person for this summer. I cannot say when will it come because there's big novelties on the watch. But yeah, we have this in mind to push boundaries and to explore time through the eyes of artists. So this artist in particular are pretty famous. So we're very, very happy to start collaborating in the contemporary art world, probably by the end of summer maximum.
Will you also explore the opportunity to use unusual experimental materials in your watches, as well as working with experimental forms and concepts?
Yeah, that is exactly the case with the collaboration we are exploring now with this contemporary artist. We try to build a material and innovate a lot. So the exploration of material is something we have in mind. But again, it is not doing a new material to do a new material. It has to make sense. It has to be relevant.
Where does that kind of research and development take place? Is that in Switzerland, or are you working further afield in different countries for that?
For this specific development, this is Switzerland. This is close to La Chaux-de-Fonds. Yeah.
I am very curious what you think of the current state of the market and where it's going, because technically you kind of missed the boat of the boom in the watch market. So good for you, because in challenging times, we have the strongest roots.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see the coming 3, 5, or do you dare to look ahead 10 years?
I think we arrived in the worst period. We were not ready just after COVID, and so 2 years after, we arrive in a complex period, I think. But it's good, as you mentioned, because if you stay strong and if you're relevant, I mean, the future will be brighter, because it's not easy from the beginning to sell watches, from the beginning of your story, I mean. So I think that the world is pretty instable. I think that the luxury watch market, it's really hard to predict how it's going to be in 1 year, in 2 years. We all know these are cycles, but I think personally that those cycles will be shorter and shorter, meaning that you can go from a period of crisis to a period of excitement and growth, like from a year to another. That's my point of view. There is always be space for new watches, as long as for new brands, as long as a guy, an entrepreneur, a watchmaker has an idea that has never been done before, and if it's relevant, there is space for that, I think. But yeah, we are living a strong period, a period of certainty. Yeah, it's hard to say that where we're gonna be in 2 years or 3 years. I just think that it's a cycle. This cycle will, like the crisis, will sort of crisis, but not growth. Let's say that we are living from a year and a half. It can come back it can come back anytime. It can come back in 25. It can come back in 26. Then again, kind of crisis in 27 and coming back in 28. I think the uncertainty is the key word for not only for the watch market or the luxury market in general. I think it's for the entire global living that we're in, global earth that and any market we are living. One question to you guys: what do you guys think about the luxury watch market, where it's going to go? Do you feel the same thing, like the uncertainty, the permanent uncertainty, or do you think different from me?
You see, Rob, this is a real entrepreneur and philosopher. He's asking us questions, although he's the interviewee. Thank you, Thibaud. I personally believe in watches. I think they're mechanical pieces of art, Therefore, your brand resonates with me and your philosophy resonates with me. Everything is cyclical in life. Whatever comes up needs to come down. 7 fat years, 7 meager years. So I'm not impressed by where we are today. And obviously I expected it, and so did many. So in that sense, I'm not worried. What I think we as an ecosystem of the watch industry need to watch out for is make sure that future consumers, so we're talking already about Gen Z is already maybe getting there, Gen Alpha, is that they will want to wear wristwatches. And I think there are two things there. If schools don't teach young kids to read time in a round way, so analog versus digital horizontal, we have an issue, because then wristwatches are doomed the same future as pocket watches today. Listening to the first episode of Scarlett Baker and Rob Nods on the Real Time Show, they had a very interesting discussion about the fact that more and more people wear luxury watches today as a fashion accessory.
Right. It's true. It's true.
Instead of just a time reading instrument. But that's true, but that's dangerous, because fashion is en vogue. It's cyclical. It goes and comes rather quick. If we don't keep pushing on métier d'art and how beautiful it is, then I think we are safe. So those are my 2 cents. Rob, mic is yours.
I'm not sure I agree that I worry about fashion's cyclical nature as something that watchmaking should be wary of, because although what is worn on the wrist might change, the nature of it probably won't. I think that, yes, the people we were describing the other day in the episode with Scarlett are looking at watches more as works of art, more as conduits for their personality through which they can communicate something about themselves. I don't think that is going anywhere, but I do think that the audience size, the potential audience size there, is much, much smaller than if it included people that also wear watches to tell the time. So my fear is not for the industry in general. I think that the craft will survive. I think that it has become something other than what it was. I think it has elevated itself to a point at which Alto seems very comfortable with it being, because of the artistic connections and the philosophy behind it. So I don't think watches like Alto are going to suffer. I don't think watches like the Apple Watch will suffer until, as you always say, Alon, the technology moves within our bodies and we no longer need to wear these additional devices on our wrist for that purpose. But I do think that a lot of entry-level watches may suffer, and entry-level luxury, I mean, so the sort of Hamiltons, the Tissot's, the Longines, the Midos that we were extolling the other day in our article with David, but I do think that they might fall out of favor. Interestingly, though, I think the lower end stuff like Timexes, Casios, maybe Seikos, certainly things that are digital and have that retro vibe to them, will succeed and prosper for longer than we might have imagined, because of the nostalgia that is emerging for the analog past that is fast disappearing, despite the fact that the items I'm referring to are, for the most part, digital. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally. I understand.
Well said, Rob. And maybe to circle back to you, Thibaud, I love the fact that you're taking it a notch up on the philosophical scale. For your brand, and I say this respectfully, I think it's smart you're applying an Audemars Piguet / Richard Mille style of operation. What do I mean by that? Let's call it ballotage economics or ballotage sales. You curate who is eligible to wear an Alto watch. Now, this sounds extremely arrogant, and it might be perceived like that, but as an entrepreneur and a marketeer, me, myself, I understand why these two, and if you concur, your brand do this, because in the end, they're doing the current owners of those mechanical pieces of art and all future wearers a favor, because not only does it help in the allure to become a member of that club, or as MBNF calls it, the tribe, it protects the brand heritage. And now you can rebuttal to that. And maybe in your answer, you can also add your vision for the future of Alto. Is this a passion project, or are you seeing this as a startup that will have an exit in 7 to 10 years?
I think it's it's a real strong project with real ambition. We want to build a maison like properly. We want to grow step by step, but this is a passion project, of course, because there is behind that a lot of passion, a lot of obsession, but it's a strong project. It's a strong project with ambition, and steps and growth. And coming back to the fact that you mentioned that we have this luxury of choosing the clients. We don't choose the clients. They come to us, and we just need to have a connection with them, because we know that the first 25, and this year more than like 30, 40 clients that we're going to have are the first ambassadors, and they are the first. They have to understand very well who we are, and they have to after that be ambassadors and speak about what they have on the wrist to the people they know, etc. So this is very important for us, as we are super small and as we do not have the capacity to be strong as Bulgari or as Hublot or any big major brand, to communicate and to speak to a lot of audience. We speak to a very few amount of people. So, and this is not a choice. This is just like the fact. We cannot produce more than what we do. We will produce a bit more every year, but this is not going to be like from 25 pieces to 600,000 pieces, like Cartier is doing, for example. So yeah, we just try to grow like normally, but with ambition to do a strong brand, because we think we have, we're pretty sure we have the basis of a strong brand. And so, so we will see what the future brings. But the first clients are very, very important, very, very important, because they're the first ambassadors.
And I'm going to provoke a bit. What happens if your old friends in Le Brassus, and for those listeners that don't know what I'm referring to, I'm talking about the place where Ademar Piquet is headquartered, call you and they want to take a stake in your company if they haven't yet. What will you do?
I think it is too soon. I mean, the brand is only 6 months of existence. It's 6 or 7 years of work in the shadow, but the brand is only 6 months. We launch end of April 24. And I'm already copied if you go on Reddit and if you go on AliExpress, I already have copies. What they say, homage to Alto. So it's crazy, like the speed of this word. But I don't think it's time to think about that. So I don't want to imagine this kind of conversation. I want to stay strong. I want to stay in my position. I don't want to sell anything because it's super soon. And even in the future, I'm not into those discussions now. So, and I don't want to be.
I respect that. Thank you for answering it. Interesting topic you raised, the homage pieces. How do you deal with that, owning the IP? Do you attack them or do you let them be?
Oh, you mean the AliExpress copycats? I don't know if you can say AliExpress, by the way, on the podcast, or I don't want to be.
This is the real-time show. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah. It's interesting because at the first time, and it's funny, it's one of the 25 first clients. It's me. Oh, look, you're copied already. I mean, you should see it as a good sign. I remember the WhatsApp. It was in September or October, and I was like, oh man, that's crazy. So I see the product, and the client said to me, you should buy one and see how it's made, etc. I said, yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to make this business work in the shadow, etc. So, but I need to order one. I haven't done yet. But firstly, you say, okay, it's crazy. 6-7 years of work, copied in like 1 second. You're saying like the world is going crazy. But then you say, okay, you're aligned in the website with fake or homage to Santos Dumont, to Patek Philippe, to Richard Mille, and you're like, okay, so I'm existing at least. I mean, I'm in the game now. So the that's a good sign for me. And you cannot do anything for that. You can have the best lawyers in the world. If you shut down one company one day, the second day two other companies open. So no, you cannot fight against that. You just have to see that living, and but that's my point of view, and that's the behavior I'm taking regarding those copycats. Because I don't think we can do anything.
Do you think in an odd way it adds an almost legitimacy to the legitimate brand, in that you've been seen, you're striking enough to be copied, and when people research Alto, they're likely to find out that someone has copied you? Do you think that adds gravitas to the original brand in a strange way in the mind of consumers?
I don't think if it brings credibility, time will tell. It brings that at least we exist. We are we are not into the complex of the beginner arriving in the market with no legitimacy, no credibility, etc. I mean, I think that all the work I've done, I'm totally legitimate to be where I am now. It's just no, it doesn't bring more. It's just funny, and it's no, I don't think it brings more. And the credibility is something that you have like months by months, year by year, and with the product that you do.
Well, that's interesting, because you have that credibility personally and professionally, and anybody that knows you, I'm sure, would have a very high opinion of the watches that you put out. But when most people encounter Alto for the first time, they encounter the watch before they encounter you. They don't know anything about the people behind it until they start digging into the brand, or they look around the surrounding universe and assess the context there. So, I mean, in the absence of ambassadors as well, apart from your customers, of course, which I agree are the best ambassadors, the watch is the ambassador, and the watch has to instantly communicate your credibility through it when people see it. Do you find that that is what's happening, or do you find that people find the watch, do their research, and then when they understand the story and the team behind it and the vast experience that's gone into the watch, then they start to appreciate the product more? Or do you think that people would buy the product in isolation of the story?
I can tell about only the experience I have this year and the 6 last months. Mostly, like 80%, like 20 out of the 25, let's say, more or less, it's like a coup de cœur for the watch, for the product, because these are people I've never seen in my life, in Australia, in Saudi Arabia, in the US, in Greece, that didn't do any research work, and they just saw boom on an article, not even on Instagram, but on an article of a colleague of you guys, another journalist. They saw it and they say, "Oh, I want it," and that was just a coup de cœur for the product, because it attracts them, it gives them emotion, something different, etc. And then they try to dig more into the brand. But no, I would say that now it's more about a product attraction.
Talking about the product being a hero and the benefit of you being a brand new watch company, how have you incorporated the concept of CPO, certified pre-owned? What are you going to do with the initial buyers of a brand new Alto watch and that want to either upgrade, move on, or for whatever reason are not going to keep it in their collection?
CPO is not something we haven't think about yet. Honestly, I don't have any idea about how to handle this topic yet. I think that, as I told you before, I know now the 25 client personally. I have connections with them. I'm not saying to all of them, do not sell those watches, etc. They do whatever they want to do, but I'm pretty sure that the level of emotion is strong on the wrist, so that they don't want to sell the watch soon. So I hope I will not have to deal with the CPO too soon. I will have to in probably 1 to 3 years, but now I don't think I will have. So Sorry about that, but this is not a question I can answer.
No, you don't need to apologize, because I was curious. You see more and more hotellerie brands incorporate the fact that they want their own models, that, and especially those that are not being produced anymore, to come back home, be serviced, and then retailed again by the brand. So in that context, I asked you that question.
What do you guys think about the watch market today, and the coming brands like us, like Toledano Chan, like Berneron? Like, what do you think about this arrival of new brands and the future of those brands? What do you think, guys?
I'm thrilled to see the arrival of this cavalcade of shaped watches. I think it's superb. I think what it speaks to, as Scarlett mentioned the other day, was a serious dearth of interesting case shapes in the industry. Like, it's fulfilled a need. Now the question is, what's the potential for that need? Is it just the fact that we needed the itch to be scratched by 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 10 or 15 different watches that were like nothing else on the market whatsoever, just so that we could actually have the option to buy them? Will the consumers buy them? That's a different question. Obviously, at the level you're at and the level Berneron's at, the answer seems to be yes. Toledano and Chan seems to be doing a good job of becoming the it brand in that price sphere for shaped watches in a more brutalist style. But the question is the potential of it. You know, I don't think the fact that we're all so excited about the fact we have these new options now means that, oh, what the industry really wants is to move away from round watches and to embrace octagonal or hexagonal or organically formed watches. I don't think that's the case at all. I think there's a very small market for it. And what's particularly satisfying about the current era that we're living through is the brands that have walked into that gap have been exceptional. Like, without exception, you, Toledano and Chan, Berneron are superb brands. Like, you fly the flag for non-standard shaped watches perfectly. And I just question if the market needs many more brands of that nature when the brands that we have now that have emerged are doing such a good job of it. So I think you guys are in the right place at the right time. I think that your efforts over the last several years have come to fruition at a perfect moment, where it's not just you offering something new. You're also supported by the environment created by these other brands that have come in at the same time. So there's a context. You have a family of unrelated brands which accidentally help each other to be understood by consumers. So I think it's brilliant. I think you're going to do great in, as Alon says, 7 years up, 7 years down. I think the next 7 years you're all set, and then thereafter we'll see how the industry turns.
Great question, Thibaud. I love it. I'm not objective. Not only do I count Sylvain to be my dear friend, and I knew him before he started his own watch, and I bought one when he showed me the first ever prototype with a paper dial. So I recently received my Berneron watch. Phil is a friend and became a friend before he started Toledano and Chan. So I have one of his first batch as well. Fabrizio Bonamassa has to have a mention here as well, because when the Octo Finissimo came out, and I like the most basic ones, a full titanium, dial titanium, monochromatic gray, have one of those. So I'm not the right person to ask. But if we take a step back, creativity is always good. Art is always good. I totally concur with you that our art connects and supersedes any language, and it's the grease of society. So in that sense, yes, thank you. What is interesting that you mentioned Berneron and Toledano Chan. I do see a big difference in both, and then linking it to what you do with Alto on 2 levels. Toledano Chan is, well, Phil is an artist. He's not so much per se an entrepreneur. He's a free spirit, likes to be creative. He likes to be free. He said, hey, I love these integrated 70s Midas touch styled watches. I have this creativity in me. I'm going to make one. He met Alfred Chan by coincidence, digitally. They only met physically for the first time when we met them during Geneva Watch Days, summer 2024. And they said, fuck it, we're going to do one project, 175 watches. They truly did not believe they would sell out within a few days, this initial batch. But it's a different price point. It's a different approach. Unlike Sylvain Berneron, you and him have a long-term vision. You put your money where your mouths are. You put everything on everything. You took a big risk. Sylvain literally liquidated everything, including his private watch collection, poured his heart and soul into it, and took a big risk because he didn't know where it went. That being said, that gives me as a collector confidence to buy your watch, because I know you're not a one-day fly. You're not going to be disappeared by tomorrow. And I'm not saying that Toledano and Chan are going to be gone, but it could be, because they never promised to build a watch company with full-fledged employees and SAV, so after-sales service. But do we need to? Probably not, because they use the Sarita base, so I can go to any watchmaker. So these are all intricate things that I take into consideration. But I'm very, very happy that you came on the show, because this whole story was not clear to me. So thank you, Thibaud. We are looking forward to meeting you in person during the week of Watches and Wonders in Geneva. And Rob, nobody does the outro better than you. So the mic is yours.
Yeah, thanks, Thibaud. That was really interesting, getting an insight into Alto. I've been lucky enough to have the watch on my wrist earlier on in the year, and I thought that it was really beautiful to wear, and understanding more about you and the brand behind it is a real pleasure. So hopefully our audience feels the same. And if anyone has any questions for Thibaud or anyone at the brand, then please do get in touch. You can do so via Instagram. You can find me there at ROBNUDDS, Alon at ALONBENJOSEPH, David at DAVAUCHER, and Scarlett at SCARLINTHESHIRE, catchy or what. You can get in touch with the rest of us via email, either Rob, Alon, or David at therealtime.show, or via the contact form on the official website, www.therealtime.show. We'll be back soon with more top quality watch content and interviews with the industry's finest. Until then, stay safe and keep on ticking.